You know, after some thought, I was thinking to myself, how should have Squid Game Season 3 really have ended? Okay, maybe not really ended, but maybe this would have been a better alternative way to close off a once great series. I think for starters, we have to talk about our main character, Player 456. In all honesty, this dude shouldn't have done that entire thing of jumping. This just unraveled everything. Depending on who you ask, some people may say, wow, this gesture was symbolic of how he's trying to show that he's not a selfish prick. But in all honesty, bro, just take a plane trip all across the globe and go and see your kid. It's been some years, you only have one, just do the right thing. He should have won the games. Actually, he could have won by just calling it quits because it was him and the baby, right? So the baby doesn't have the right to vote, because for whatever reason, all of a sudden the show now cares about consent. Technically speaking, wouldn't the vote have to have been abstained and automatically it would have been game over? I know that's not how it works, but I've convinced myself that should have been the case. The games would have had to end, right? So they would have had to split the winnings 50-50, and with that in mind, gi-hun just goes on and sees his kid like that's the only person he has left. His mom is dead, his friend died in the game, he has nobody else, or maybe that's why he jumped in the first place. Let me explain.
The Big Dipper.
Let's talk about North Korea. When it comes to this guard from North Korea, I was actually kind of hoping we saw more of a solid concrete storyline. This whole thing of her getting her lick back and all the other guards who are part of the organ harvesting operation was cool, but I was kind of hoping that she actually reunites with her kid and then they have this warm embrace at the end. Instead, they did that for someone else. That would have been cool, because she did all this during the games thinking to herself, damn, I have a daughter too. So she was vicariously living through the player the entire time, trying to be selfless. Either that or she just has a huge crush on this guy. She didn't want that player who works at the amusement park to die, because unlike most people on the island, her moral compass isn't broken. She did all that heavy lifting so that he can be reunited with his kid. I was kind of hoping that they showed that to us, but for her kid. Instead, we saw player 67's brother from season 1 there at the airport be happy to be with his family. I haven't seen this dude in several episodes, nor was he a fleshed out character for me to care about him that much. Or at all, to be honest. The front man. Why didn't this guy just turn around and talk to his brother? I get it, that's not really your biological brother. This newly formed cold demeanor doesn't make any sense, especially considering your history. Maybe there's some resentment, but I mean, you did all of that in season 1 just to save this guy, so that means you do like him, right? Instead, you walked over to the baby and were taking your job way too seriously. He took the baby and just left. Like, did you not even think to yourself for a minute that, damn, this guy came all the way just to see me again? Even after he fell off the cliff the first time, he must really want to talk to me, but you harbor so much hatred. Just turn around and talk to the guy. Even if it was one sentence, he's like right there. Even if you just looked at him and your eyes started to get all watery like how they did the first time when you saw him, that would have been way more impactful, but instead you made sure to visit this kid of your dead lover. I was kind of hoping they did something way more interesting with gi-hun's motel. I know they're gonna renovate it and all, but I was hoping they make it a shrine or something. Not really a shrine per se, but maybe find some way to honor his legacy. Last time I checked, the detective does know that this man was in the games. Instead of being concerned with the fact that his acquaintance is missing, now he has to play father to some kid who doesn't even have a name or know who their parents are. Instead, put a poster of him or something. Tell everyone that he tried to put a stop to some crazy death games. People might think you're a madman, but at least you're a real friend. Build a temple in his honor. Is that taking it too far? Perhaps, but whatever. He was doing all that talk about how we're humans and not horses, and now nobody even knows about the sacrifice he made except the VIPs and the frontman. I wish that in those last 2 episodes we got a little bit more of a backstory of the captain and the recruiter. I talked about it in one of my previous videos. We saw them together in the photo, they were buddy, but I was kind of hoping that they tied it up right then and there. I get that these photos were shown to imply that these guys used to actually hang out and be friends, but it would kind of be more interesting if somehow when this guy snooped around his house, he found more info that would give us an explicit meaning of what these two used to do together. Like maybe to show that the recruiter had some hobbies other than fishing and harassing homeless people for his own sadistic pleasure. Did these guys write letters to each other and talk about their day? The captain looks like the type to enjoy receiving. By receiving, I mean letters, of course. Is it wrong for me to say that I wanted the front man to tell gi-hun's daughter that he's the front man? I know that sounds a little bit weird, but do you not think it would have done more honor and justice if this guy kind of just explained in a nutshell, okay, your dad owed a lot of money, he competed in a bunch of death games, he won the first time, and for whatever reason, he decided to come back and try and save a bunch of people, but died in the process. Also, I killed his longtime friend. You know that guy who used to chill with your old man who had a bit of a gambling problem? Yeah, he doesn't exist anymore. That just sounds crazy when I say it like that, but you get what I mean. This guy just gave her his blood-stained jacket and clothes and promptly left. You could have just tried to give a brief explanation of what happened. Have some decency. I don't know, instead of this island blowing up, I think it would have been way cooler if there was a huge FBI raid and everybody got caught in the act. Just while everyone is fleeing the island, law enforcement comes in and catches all these guys and sees that there's a dude in a mask. There's a bunch of rich white people also wearing masks. That would have been way more interesting because this ending just implies that the South Korean Squid Games is still gonna happen down the line. It's far from over. They're probably just gonna relocate to another island, or they're just gonna lay low for a few years like how they did after the first season of Squid Game. Remember how 456 couldn't find the South Korean recruiter for years? Back to Epstein Island from Timu, the island just blew up. That won't stop the games from not ever happening again, so it would have been cool if these guys got busted so that at least 4, 5, 6 efforts wouldn't have been in vain. Even this entire organ harvesting side plot never really got a proper conclusion. I came to the conclusion that the captain also happened to be a part of the operation. The reason I'm theorizing this is because there was a stash of untouched cash in his yard, plus there's no trace of this guy in South Korea. That seems sketch to me, and the behavior of someone who sells things on the black market. So in this case, 2 and 2 does equal to 4. I was really hoping that we got more of a backstory on the old man, player 1. In season 3 episode 3, there was a lot of talk about him, especially from the VIPs. They were showering him with praises, congratulating him and celebrating him. Basically, they were sucking him off. I didn't really care about that. I wanted more of a backstory. The only time we really saw a flashback of Oh Il-nam is when he gave the frontman a knife and he told him back then in 2015 to take out the trash. But I was kind of hoping that we wrapped up his story and tried to see how he became this, you know, brute monster. This wolf in sheep's clothing. As much as I didn't really like the ending at first, I made peace with it because I realized him being selfless is just a callback to when he was in the hospital room with the old man and they were looking out the window. Then player 1 was on some, nobody's going to save that guy on the side of the road because people are pricks. But just as he died, he never got to see the outcome of their little bet, and surprise surprise, gi-hun was right. Somebody showed up, so this was gi-hun doing that once again, except this time he did it in the game. He was selfless. Hate it or love it, but you have to respect it just a little bit, just a little teensy weensy bit. I don't think Squid Game Season 3 could have ended any other way. I wasn't truly happy with this outcome, but hey, life goes on. A lot of people weren't happy with that ending either, but I think it was going to have a polarizing ending either way. I can't believe that in all the episodes from this season, we didn't get a single scene of anyone playing with this baby and being like, oh, I got your nose. And don't say that would have been inappropriate. There's an entire scene of someone trying to be the bottom for player 333 in season 3. We had Thanos trying to pick up bad bitches in season 2, and we had player 212 throwing it back in the bathroom stall in hopes that she'll live in season 1. So don't tell me about what's appropriate.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video, consider watching one of the 2 on your screen right now. And don't forget, villains tell the best story.